You see the name, it says PSA, that means public service announcement. The revolution will not be what? No. It's actually the Renaissance. The Renaissance. Now that's different. It's different because the revolution is already happening, but the Renaissance is not happening. So that's why we've gathered here. That's why we are gathered here today, because we are the silent revolution for seekers, not followers. And if you have found your way here for some odd reason, then I'm guessing you probably don't want to read this entire long message. So I actually recorded this little video just for you, for anybody who's like, like me. I gotta hear stuff. I'm like a very auditory, like I'm a music producer. Come on now, like I love the sonic realm, and there's something special about the connection of just hearing it from another person. Now, I love to write, I love to type, but we don't got all day. Sometimes we got things to do. So pop in those headphones and we could just get off with our thing. So this is for if it's your first time here and you're wondering, hey, just like, who is this guy? What is this about? Like this project, all this. Like, this is to help demystify some of that and help you to know if you're in the right place or if you need to get on going. So give me 1 second. I got to get in a zone. We're going to come right back and I'll read this to you. So much love. You got to come in on 10, baby. You got to come in on 10. Hey, what's good, y'all? Look, so welcome to the newsletter. I figured I would just read this for you because I know it's long. So some of us, we've been having, we're busy people. We got, people to see and places to go and things to do and stuff to be. So, maybe you could just pop in your headphones. You could just listen to it and coast. So that's what this is. I know everybody doesn't have time all day to read. So much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for signing up. I hope that you are in the right place. And if you're not, by the end of this, I'm sure you will know. This is a public service announcement because the Renaissance will not be televised. If you have not noticed already, maybe you've been underneath a rock, or maybe I don't know. But if you're here, most likely you're peeping game. And so this is just a reflection of the silent revolution for seekers, not followers. What you are looking at here is the first newsletter. It may change, but this is up top right here. This is just things. So if you ever want to know what's new, I actually did put some buttons here. So that way you'll know how to navigate around things that are new. So anything that comes out past this point, the art shop, there will be lots of artwork. We're in that studio right now. We'll turn it around you and show you. But it's a little bit of a mess. So I'm like, I'm not gonna put you through that right now. But yes, the music is up there, the YouTube, you'll be able to follow here. You might also be coming from Notion Playground, Flow State, a couple different places. So this is more of like personal builds and things like that. We do talk about the game and gameplays and playbooks and all that. We do go deep into it too, but this is also kind of like the amalgamation of just thoughts and original thought and curating some things you might not see every day. So that is what this is. That blog, if you need to get to the blog at any point in time, you also can get to it there. And I'll be putting articles, things that we research, questions, answers, all that. You can find that in the blog too. So welcome. So this is, I sent it to myself, so that's why it says, hey, Carol. But, it would say your name on it if you were getting the email. This is just a semi-formal welcome email to say hi and thank you for joining. This is the Waking World Project. This is a project of Dream Crushers. And this is the Inner Compass newsletter. And for navigating nuance, because we live in a very complex world. If, like I said, if you don't know, now you know. In the information age especially, we are not in Wonderland, and yes, that is Alice right there, but it is what you make of it. And so being able to navigate that nuance and really talk through that, a lot of complex topics, sometimes we only hear them stated from one angle, so this is to provide a little bit more perspective in people who have open minds. So to be straight up, This first message is not a short message. It is not meant to be sweet. It is not meant to be technically correct. You do not need to buy anything. You don't need to buy into anything but yourself. And I am not here to waste your time. I'm here to make the words on this page right now that have been inscribed on the front of this temple or whatnot. I'm here to breathe life into that so that way you can experience it beyond just words on a screen, because we are people and I want to talk to you person to person if you're going to be here, because we are in quite a time to be alive. The only reason that I, Camal, not a GPT, have written this is to activate you, because you're being activated because you specifically are needed right now. If you're here and you're receiving this message, you probably already know. I don't need to tell you. But if you thought this was just an ordinary day and you happen to come across this, it is not an ordinary day. This is a quantum moment, my friend. And you need to be here right now receiving this message. And so that is what this is for, whatever that sparks in you. You might be here because a friend recommended it. Maybe you saw it through the flow state, through the music or the art channels. Maybe you found your way, just by fate. I don't know, Roland Dolo. In that case, you might be a really adventurous type of person. Regardless, I trust that it means that you are ready for it. At least, almost. So let's get real here. Real. I don't know you. You don't know me. And you got to make really good sure that you're actually in the right place. Last thing you need is another person looking at you sideways like, where'd you bring this from? YouTube? Like, this is the pre-cap, no cap recap here, okay? Through these letters, you're going to learn, especially if you're a creator, how to turn bland and uninspired ideas into ones that you can use in your writing, in your speaking, or your creative projects. Based on your feedback, we fill in the gaps between knowledge, strategy, and execution, so that way you can get started and finally finish yo shit. I should have added the yo shit part, but yeah, finish yo shit. Because it be like that sometimes, and now we're in go mode, spice it up though, just to spice it up, because this is not just any newsletter that you might subscribe to. We're gonna pull lessons from a lot of different things from the mysteries of lost ancient America to things in the future, year 2020, 30 extinction cleanup efforts, weekly conversations ranging from your body is composed of stardust and the celestial bodies above are a reflection of the energies within you, to the current society, and I do mean the T, late night bullshit detectors, world affairs. There's no subject that's going to be too far out. See it as a garden for the fruits of free thinking, on the pursuit of finding the smallest actions that make the biggest impact. This is for you on your journey to truth. It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And sometimes that can get confused. Now, if you've read, the book of, I think it's the book of 5 Rings or something by Miyamoto Musashi. Like, this is some real GOAT shit, right? But he talks about it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And my name is Camal, and that means quiet warrior. And that's something I have learned the hard way. And so I speak about that. And maybe you do experience that in some way in your own battles, in your own war. The goal here is to learn something new and to integrate that every day. Like the War of Art. This is another good read. War of Art. I think that's Stephen Pressfield. I'll make sure that'll be on the book list. So if you guys see the book list, you'll be able to go get that. But this is the studio. We're cooking up together. This is that Philosopher's Stone. This is that Gnosis, that everything you touch contains a piece of gold. Be humble as you ride the wave. And when you're dialed in with the eyes to see and the ears to hear, the teacher appears when the student is ready. That's something I always live with, and I want to impart onto you because I'm sure you will find that in your own way. You'll pick up gems that I never saw, and I'll bring you the most mind-blowing stories that I find. And some days it's going to be love and light, And other days we might have to suit up through the trenches to alchemize some of these multi-dimensional boss levels of this game. Nothing is going to be off limits. But I'll tell you what it is and what it isn't. This is about you. It's about your natural evolution. It's about giving up the ghost. It's about being here and that shadow work that comes with it. It doesn't require anything, any looking pretty, any sounding perfect. We ain't got to do no formal shit. This is about having fun with it. So grab your popcorn, but also know that we're going to get down to business. And that means raw, no sugarcoating, no gaslighting, no grifts, no games. To dial in this inner compass, it's really important to know what time it is, because and what it's not. Because doing this type of work is not for the faint of heart. It's not. It's for the heart fire. The heart fire. Heart fire. You know, it's like I've been talking so long. I need some water. I need some water. But no, it's not for the faint of heart. It's for the heart fire. I'll do my best to steer and anchor the conversation. As you can see, I'll even leave the mess ups in there. Why not? You know. But if you're not ready, to be honest, I want to kindly direct you to the unsubscribe button so that way you can get back to your regular schedule programming. Because honestly, it's just for people who understand this. I'm not sitting here trying to convince nobody. It is what it is. May the fates be with you. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. And for everybody else, keep reading. But actually, pause. Hold on a second. Real quick. This is important. I know we're like 10 minutes in. But quick tech thing. Make sure to add this email, the into@awakenworld.com. Make sure to add that to your contacts list and then drag that message into your primary folder, because it helps it to avoid getting stuck in the promotions purgatory where, you know, just messages go where it's like, oh, this is a marketing message, you know, like, yes, I'm gonna market to you. I'm gonna be 1,000%. Yes, I will market to you because you are here. And we are talking business, baby. But on the real, you don't have. That's not what this is about. That is only the surface layer of things. And I would hope that you would see, you know, being 10 minutes in, that there is more going on here. So much love, your choice. But I would appreciate if you did that. It would help me and us in the algorithm. So helps to make sure that you also don't miss anything and that we grow and stay in touch. So all that good stuff. What's coming? What is coming? Honestly, that's like the big question. What is coming? Every day, wake up and wonder, you know, if you didn't do your homework, you might be thinking, what in the godforsaken world did I sign up for? Why this long ass message? You might be totally justified, right? Today, we're going to start tossing all that lovely, politically correct out the window. We don't need a whole lot of that where we're going anyways. In case you were wondering, why is it the Renaissance will not be televised? That part, DJ, cue up the music. In loving memory of the revolution will not be televised, which is, if you don't know, now you know, a satirical poem and a liberation song by one of the GOATs. His name was Jill Scott-Heron, and single tier salute. P.S. If you haven't heard it yet, the man was a time traveler. He was one of those people who came along just very bright, very big soul, and he wrote some very important public comments and pieces. If you want to find that, you can also find that here. I'll include it in the link. And one of those pieces is "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." You could make a very convincing argument that going on 2026 here, it's the unofficial remix of some of those thoughts and things that were being talked about, you know, especially during the civil rights era. Come on now, you know, with everybody, we have our rights being violated every single day, and yet still it's hard for a lot of us to even have some of these conversations at the dinner table, you know. So it clearly shows there's a lot of work still to be done. This energetic avalanche breaking loose speaks to the hard truth that most people don't really even know what to believe anymore. And I mean, like, can you even blame them? Like, you ever had a conversation with somebody who sounded like they especially, ooh, oh my God, 2020, oh my God. You know, they sound like they're a teleprompter. They're just directly just wired to Fox and CNN, and every headline that pops up, they're just it's just like almost kind of surreal, to think that we know it all, even in these so-called alternative spaces, people talking and not talking about things like the Jersey drones, that time when all that stuff was flying up in the sky in Jersey, and stuff I probably can't even say. I'm like, should I even really say it like that? It's really like that. Accounts will be getting taken down for just talking about things that they see right in front of them. Even here. Tesla's picking up dead bodies on the radar, driving through graveyards. Why is that? Every bit of slimy 2020 residue unaddressed. Waves coming out about like thousands of years of altered history and amnesia timelines shaping the public dynamics of the world powers today. And that's just skimming the tip of the iceberg. What do you think sparked the white paper wars on X? Oh my God, they were going at it. It was just one person had one, lab paper, another person had another lab paper. They just draw at each other's necks. And these so-called scholars would be getting bopped over the head with their own textbooks. It's crazy. A whole lot of gatekeeping going on. And what I found is that the truth is always stranger than fiction. And so we're here now. And who else has just a little suspicion that there's something not quite right? The polarity games are out of control. You can see all this tiptoeing going around. And at some point you wonder who wrote this movie. Like, all right, we can just cut to the break part. The space between your ears is too sacred to spin face palming the news every 1 in 7 thoughts. If you don't fish beyond the slivers of truth, you might be burnt out, burning it all down, or lost somewhere in the internet of behaviors. The IOB. Even 60 Minutes is letting these things slip through the cracks with their alleged whistleblowers that they're rolling out. Take it with a grain of salt, but there are grains of truth sprinkled in. They said, what do they say? We create a pretend world. We're a global, I gotta get in character. We're a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We are the main actors. And the world is our stage. Now, does this reek of perception control a little much? Truth is, most people can't even think that far ahead right now. We let things go on because we're not equipped to address when basic needs aren't even met. Even some of the most brilliant minds are still scratching their heads and they're wondering, what will the future look like? As people buy these humanoid robots and things like that, and jobs may or may not disappear in 2 to 5 years. And you may have heard some version of AI is coming to take all the jobs and whatnot. FYI, below, so what you're looking at right here, this is a list of the top 40 roles in danger. These are the AI applicability scores here, and there's actually a second part to this, so I'll dig that up for you guys too, so you can see. So there's jobs most applicable to AI, jobs least applicable to AI, and so there was a lot of talk about this list. So I just wanted you to be able to see, so you can check it out for yourself. Things that we're trying to figure out right now. The short version is, if you don't adapt fast enough, your model doesn't work anymore. So you got to keep up with it every single day. As you racing, and then AI is racing, and then you're racing, and then it's so okay. Hold on. We got to compute. We as humanity face 3 critical challenges. People put in profit over people, little schmeagles out here. Technology industries are becoming like this WWE like SmackDown fight to the finish. They're, you're seeing people like Manny's come out and just bop, 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 bop. increasing demands for speed, causing environmental issues for the animals, the plants, the ionosphere, the water, especially. Now think, right? If we dead ass sat and calculated the official Doomsday Clock, right? 89 seconds to midnight. And by the way, by we, I mean them, the atomic scientists on January 28th, 2025. There's this thing called the Doomsday Clock of I guess the world. And it was 89 seconds to midnight, which is, when the clock strikes 12, we might stand somewhere between all out omnivore and impending technocracy if left unchecked. How lovely, how lovely, how lovely, right? Take a screen break, right? Grab a nice drink, grab a drink. It's easy to fall in the doom scroll, seeing that AI is like this hunky, ominous bully is coming to steal our jobs and swiping away our lives, which only further magnifies in the media narrative, obviously playing out where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And there's truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. So, is that it? Is that it? Everybody pick a niche or pick a ditch. Is something else happening? So let's break down the layers to this, right? Obviously, to have any chance of avoiding this outcome, we as people sort of have to stand up. We gotta envision. We gotta actively move towards a free future, which takes stamina, which takes ethical transparency. The old take it by the reins type of thing. The questions then become, where is the Renaissance right now? What does that even mean? Like, remember back in the so-called Dark Ages, right? When they lived artless lives of pain and suffering until the Renaissance came along, and boom, you see all this culture, and then bougie Whole Foods yogurt. More culture than a bougie Whole Foods yogurt. I totally read that wrong. You see more culture than a bougie. I killed the own. Yeah. That was the joke. That was the joke. All right. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is the reading. This is why we take the second to slow down and reset, and we do things like this here. Why you care? Why care? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, it was. Like, remember back in the so-called Dark Ages where they lived artless lives of pain and suffering until the Renaissance came along, and boom, you see more culture than a bougie Whole Foods yogurt. Why care that your body is composed of stardust and the celestial bodies above are a reflection of the energies within you? Why care? Why? How fair is it to assume, if left up to the book burners, we'd be repeating or resetting history for the umpteenth time right about right now? So if you're not already, so we'll do the cut. We'll do the cut. It's okay. Like, remember back in the so-called Dark Ages where they lived these artless lives of pain and suffering until the Renaissance came along, and boom, you see more culture than a bougie Whole Foods yogurt. Why care that your body is composed of stardust and the celestial bodies above are the energies within you? How fair is it to assume that if left up to the book burners, we'd be repeating or resetting history for the umpteenth time right about right now? If you're not already self-remembering, be patient, because the amnesia wears off. Hell, I've even been there. We all had to go through it and churn. At this point, the only way out is through. And that means to create heaven within is to know what it is without. I don't mean just breathe and meditate, wait around for that universal income to drop on your lap and wish all the companies away that are spying on your blood cells to please stop, guys, stop, ask around. Like who actually wants to be stuck in a 1984 reality where every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book has been rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and every actually it doesn't say every street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has never stopped. No, that's a lie. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. Who controls the past? Who controls the future? Who controls the present? Controls the past. George Orwell, 1984. Keep in mind, right? Florida put 1984 on the banned book list. Isn't that ironic, right? It might be cute when you're watching like Wall-E, and when you look outside, it makes you like wonder a little bit, like, I still wonder like who's gonna pop that bubble when many of us still can't even have these conversations at the dinner table together. When enough people come to you with, I don't really have anyone to talk to about this, compounded over time, like what do you do? How will young people remember what really happens during these moments if the next GPT 9000 conveniently omits the answers? Like when things disappear from the internet. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I got some friends. We know whole bodies of things that done disappeared from the internet, not to mention everything that never has hit the internet. It's changing public perception, very rapidly. And shout out to the people who even read books, especially the new beings out here. Like, believe it or not, there are still books out here that would change your whole paradigm of understanding about everything, maybe buried in a cave somewhere. What would that do if we knew what was in them? Things that came to mind when the Theosophical Society building was burning down in those strange Kali fires. It makes you wonder. Every day it makes me, it amazes me to study the quantum realities that we tap into through the hidden power of our words, and asking these questions and reflecting that nuance, the world between perception and reality. For example, the other day I did a dive on the name Maya. I was looking into the ancient history of America, which has many other meanings and origins from around the world, including the name Maya has different meanings and origins around the world, including in Sanskrit here. It can mean dream or illusion, or in the Maori people, it's courage or bravery. The Greeks, it was the mother, midwife, was an honorific term for an older woman. Hebrew, it's water or from God. The Romans personified Mother Earth. It's beautiful. The name Maya is an alternate name for the Hindu mother goddess Lakshmi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hopefully, if not, I'll figure out how to say it right. But Lakshmi is associated with self-knowledge, fortune, and fertility. So no, if you want to get your bag right, you want to be on her good side. If you read about Lakshmi, she's the one who will make you clean your house and get your stuff together, especially if you're trying to manifest something. But on the real, the quiet revolution, like the realization of Maya, is it all hints at this internal process. Our choice shifts from consciousness and slaps us into gear so that way we can see the world as it truly is. Thus, birthing moves from a place of understanding, courage, and abundance, and we awaken from this dream. It's about recognizing the power that we hold to author our reality and the importance of an inner revolution in creating lasting societal change. It's a call to recognize that we live in the crowning moment of a huge paradigm shift, and this is the sign of the times. Even at a time when things are feeling uprooted, the whole waking world is rooting for you to get grounded. What side of history will you be on? And so I had this picture here. This is King over here. And it's just a quote that says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." And I'm going to let that breathe for a couple seconds, actually. I'm going to grab some water. That way I can come back on 10 and we hit the rest of this. Man, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated out here. I be drinking out the mason jars. I don't know about you, but it be doing it for me. All right, so speaking of dreams, right? Since we're talking about King, speaking of dreams, I have a dream too. This is the one where we speak up and author our own new narrative for a new timeline. Remember, you are the author of your reality, and that is the daily alchemy that we focus on here. There's no secret. Anyone could tell you that we're entering the biggest transit of our lives. There's no one single way to put it. There's many different names for it. Some call it the post-common era, the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. There's that book. The Biodigital Age, the Age of Aquarius. This is the end of the Kali Yuga cycle. This is the Zeitgeist. You may have heard just like a few of those. Now get this. In Hindu beliefs, right, the Kali Yuga, just for those who don't know what that is, it technically started way back in 3102 BC, right? It's known for, it's a time when people got more into material stuff and less into spiritual things. So you can see this is the Yuga cycle. And so these are the Yuga cycles of the ages. So as we move into different ages, there are different characteristics of the energetics of that age. And so the interesting part, right, is Krishna said that there would be a 10,000 year golden age after the first 5,000 years. So now that it's 2025, as I'm recording this, you might be seeing this as we roll into 2026 here, where 5,127 years in, which means that we're just getting into this golden age. It's a time when more people are starting to look deeper for meaning and spiritual growth. So maybe you've been feeling a bit of that in yourself. We're living in the most important 5 to 10 year transformative window in human history. And that seems like, whoa, can I just say that? Like, just because he says it doesn't mean it's true, man. You know, like, but I mean, how have you been feeling? How have you been feeling? Maybe this has been a transformative, important time in your life, maybe more than others. So, something to think about for sure. Look at the world and things that are going on. There's truth there. We need to change. We need change. Humanity has been dedicated to a dead-end road in a lot of ways. Sociopaths controlling our society need to be brought to heel. And the problem is that they think they're doing the correct thing and they will resist. There's truth there, but to be crystal clear, change doesn't automatically mean progress. Evolution doesn't always equal build back better. And abandoning everything from our past isn't true wisdom. It's truly amnesia. The inner maxims, things like truth, sovereignty, faith, honor, human dignity, aren't outdated concepts that we can just afford to really just discard. When we let those lifelines go, we don't become an advanced species. We devolve and we start to collapse. And I personally refuse to fold. That golden age that everybody talks about, it doesn't just magically appear through crossing our fingers or clicking our heels, waiting for saviors. If enough of us stand firm in what matters, that flickering moment could become what our actual future looks like. And that's the real work ahead. People forget too quickly that your gut brain is the final firewall against this manufactured matrix. And when I say your gut brain, I really mean like down there, you look in your gut brain. You have your brain, your kidneys, your gut. Your gut is also considered a brain. All right. Now, when the experts pop out of nowhere, right? People will tell you, they'll pop out of nowhere telling you what to focus on, who to get behind, how to feel about it, in your gut, man. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Remember this, because you are fully capable of thinking for yourself. You don't need a narrator for your own life. Your inner compass still works. Trust it. So what do? In short, what we get into here could be broken up into two levels within a thing that it used to be called research. I don't know what they call it now, but here's a quote from Albert, is a name I can't pronounce, so I'm gonna just not pronounce it. But it says, the basic texture of research consists of dreams into which the threads of reasoning, measurement, and calculation are woven together. I added it a little together, trying to spice it up. But no, for real though, this is what this is about: reasoning, measurement, and calculation, because we're going ahead and we're dialing in a calculated way. Now, I'm a slightly average person, as you can see. Yeah, okay, you're an average person, potentially. We have a common goal, quite possibly. What is your plan for the biodigital convergence? Now, wait a second. I gotta let that part just the biodigital convergence. That's a term that a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with, but it is the hot key term of the times, and the sooner you get familiar with it, the more depth you will have in the conversations around the things that you hear coming out. So that part. Nicole Shanna, see with these names, man. I got one of them names, so look, my heart goes out to you. I know what it's like, to be in the classroom, the one kid, they're like, so and so, and then they mess up your name, and it's just like, was that you? And you just look around. No, that wasn't me. Keep doing my business. But anyways, Nicole raises the idea of human zones. What? Wait a second. Human zones in the future as a parallel to Amish communities as they exist today. The idea that there will be distinct areas separate from... Look at that. As soon as I get on the center, I'm talking about the human zones. That's when the video cut out. Look, you can't say nothing. No, I'm playing. That's a false alarm. My battery died, so yeah, it's no interference here. We're coming through. So I'm gonna read that part again, because what Nicole something raises the idea of human zones in the future as a parallel to Amish communities as they exist today. The idea that there will be distinct areas separate from society as a whole, where people who don't want brain chips or other implantable technologies will be able to build pure human, my term, communities. So this is some context, right? This is rabbit holes on X be like. You could just literally just rabbit holes on X be like. As you could probably guess, there's a bit of conversation that it's a big conversation for another time. It could end up like one of those out of hand sci-fi movies if this stuff hits people by surprise and there's no dialogue. Think like Chicken Little, The Sky is Falling. To sum it up for now, it's time to get real about the things that we communicate and how we treat each other. Things are going to look very different very soon, and many of us are just trying to wrap our minds around the conversation that needs to be had on every level. So rain check that. We will come back to that later. We went pretty deep in it, so I want us to take a little breather. The video cut out. We gotta stretch. Go ahead and make some tea. I sip matcha. What about you? I should probably introduce myself for those who are wondering. If you did not know, my name is Camal, and I'm a multi-passionate artist, designer, sound therapist, and writer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have I have a deep love for supporting people who don't fit neatly into one category. It usually ends up being right brain creators learning left brain things, or the occasional vice versa, super left brain people learning how to be in touch with that creative side, which is so beautiful. Through my own experience, I speak for myself, but for artists and creatives taking the plunge into self-employment with confidence and creating the beat and not following it. This was created for conscious entrepreneurs, creative avatars, holistic health geeks who know the struggle is real. Every day we deal with real people in real trouble, realizing their education was incomplete, getting structured steps to go from amateur to professional while still becoming who you truly are, and exploring these ego death questions together. Through this weekly newsletter, you'll get an honest dose of life gems to improve your mindset, habits, and lifestyle. And I'll be sharing more on the role of being an artist, highlighting events, workshops, taking you behind the scenes, finding balance between business sovereignty and creativity despite all this craziness in the industry. You can also look forward to seeing spotlights on other unconventional creatives and independent people who deserve more credit. If that's you, then tap in. If you want to binge on the previous dives, these are all the previous dives, so you can go check it out. As a subscriber, you'll also be the first to know about new works, exhibition openings, exclusive updates, and where I share works in progress, research, tools, creative journey, all that good stuff. If you want to support, for those who want to support, I would say treat yourself to either a gift on Time Travel Arts or the Life OS, the new Flow State Life OS dashboard, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. You use that, you can use that every day. I say, like, why not give to yourself? I make things for you to help you do the things that you need to do. So without getting super long-winded, if you do want to support though, and you are into the arts, I do make physical and digital art. And if you want to support that, support Time Travel Arts. I do also do commissions, although those are limited to only a select number of spots, depending on what my availability is at the moment. But hit me up if you have an idea. It's got to be aligned for sure. But I've been making art my whole life. Art is life, and I shed it like leaves. Currently, I focus on digital art and mixed media handmade commissions under an umbrella that supports explores the unsolved mysteries in history by connecting the dots. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to nerd out, then you are in the right place. And for making it this far already, it is 20% off, just so you know, your first order. Just use the code Admiral Bird, and you'll be able to get that. You can also use that code for standard and premium beat licensing on Crush, which is where I put out my music. So put out my music under Crush, put out artwork and things under Time Travel Arts. We'll also be doing some of the deep dives that you see, the documentaries and things under Time Travel Arts as well. So definitely look out for that. It's just an update as we're getting the channels together, so you know what's what, where to find things. just because I want to respect your time. So if you're here, I want to make sure that you're on the channel of the thing that you are interested in and want to learn more about, so we can, best serve you. If you have any questions or suggestions, just reply to this email here. And I would like to know, what are you working on? If you're here, I'd like to know, what are your gifts? What are your skills? How are you stepping into your power via your gifts or skills this year? So with that, send me a message. That's just as simple as click and reply. I do read all the replies. If ever it's taking me a second to get back to you, understand, your man be busy sometimes, but it is love, and I'm always sending love to everybody here, for those days where everything is perfect and those days where things are looking down. Important, like I said, don't forget, make sure to add into @Awaken World, and the address is right here. Add that to your contacts, so that way we don't end up in the spam or anything crazy, and you stay updated. Also, I would love to hear if there are any topics, anything specific that you would like me to cover in future emails. Just hit reply, let me know. And for those who prefer to listen over reading screens, I will try to make audio versions of these as often as possible. As you can see, this is the first one, so it turned out to be a little longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was I'm just going to sit read down the page, it's going to be like 2 minutes. Like, nah. But at the same time, if you got some enjoyment out of this, maybe you got to listen to it during that time of the day when you got some time to yourself to really lock in and zone in, or maybe you're in a space and a flow. I hope it sparks some things. We could go on and on and on and on, but we'll save it for next time. Till then, stay curious, stay humble, stay vigilant, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Oh, like, what is the always at the end of the video, it's like, how do I end this off? What is like this smooth thing to do? Just to like, do I not with the or just, I don't know, man. I'm trying to, I don't want to stress about it. I just want to just get it out to the world. Be pure, no editing. But it'd be like that. Hey, yes, create. Get your ideas out in the world. Much love. Take care.